I wanted to ask about imposter syndrome at work, if you ever had any, or you just felt like you just knew what you were doing. Guess what? She's one of many that have the same question. So let's talk about it. The imposter syndrome for UX designers. You are likely not an imposter, not a fraud. You are just Jack. To understand why you are Jack, let's start with a story of mine from 2015. 2015 was by far the most stressful year in my entire life. It was the third year of my industrial design undergrad program at Georgia Tech. That meant I only had one summer left to get my first UX design internship, which could hopefully lead to a full-time offer, and I only get exactly one shot. I started applying very aggressively on LinkedIn, Indeed, college job board, whatever I can get my hands on. Luckily, I started to get some interviews from IBM, Siemens, big companies, which gave me quite some relief. But sooner than I knew, those interviews became rejections. And more rejections email came in from other applications. It was frustrating, it was helpless. I kept applying, working on my portfolio 7 days a week, non-stop. The reality was, I either never heard back from the companies, or I just got a rejection email 2 days after I applied. My inner voice chimed in. What if I'm just a bad designer and never cut out for this? What if I never get an internship? And what happened to my life? Why don't any of these companies like me? It really sucked to hear all those voices on top of those already horrible rejection emails. But I never admitted I was stressed. Cause Asians never got stressed. As much as I could keep lying to myself, my body couldn't. I started to develop some physical symptoms. I felt like there was something like compressing my chest and my throat. I thought it was nothing in the beginning, but it got worse and worse, so I had to go to the doctors to figure out what was going on. Let's pause here for a second, okay? That's the first half of my story. Maybe it resonated with you a lot, or maybe a little bit. What I want to share in this video is really to walk you through everything I know about dealing with imposter syndrome as a UX designer. So first, I'm going to wrap up my story so you see how things unfolded from there. And then I'm going to share with you 3 facts about imposter syndrome, insecurity, self-doubt, and then lastly, the 3 things that helped me get through all these negativities. Yeah, so grab your favorite drink and let's get into it, y'all. Good morning, everyone. My name is Justine. I'm a designer working in Silicon Valley. Not getting internships, self-doubting, you don't know what is right anymore. It's scary, it's stressful. Those feelings are real and valid. How you handle them from here is the key. So let's see what happened after my doctor's visit, which takes us to chapter 1, the rest of my story. So I went to the doctors. They couldn't actually figure out what was going on with me, which is comforting but scary at the same time. And all the prescription they gave me did not help either. So look, rejection emails, the inner voice, school projects, applications, portfolio, physical symptoms, all happening at the same time. I was really drowning, but I knew I had to power through. So I tried to hold on to the one thing that I thought should get me through all of these, my portfolio. I focused all my time, my energy, my blood, my sweat into polishing my portfolio, rehearsing all my projects, covering all the key points, and keep them under 25 minutes. That's the bet I took. Nothing really happened for a bit, but then something interesting started to happen. My portfolio is getting stronger, more robust. My side project animation collection was growing. Presenting projects become more of an autopilot. I kept interviewing. They saw my skills. They heard my thought process. They began to be willing to bet on me. And they did. In April 2015, I got 3 offers. Consumer Reports in New York City, GE Kitchen Appliance in Kentucky, and MuleSoft in San Francisco. I ended up joining MuleSoft, which was not only where I kickstarted my UX design career, but also where I left behind all my self-doubts. Nowadays, I don't quite remember when was the last time, other than 2015, that I questioned myself or felt low self-worth. Because in 2015, something clicked in my head and I understood what was going on and what to do with the situation, which is a great segue to chapter 2. 3 facts to know about imposter syndrome. First thing to know is that if you have imposter syndrome, that means you have self-awareness. It's actually a good thing. So pat yourself on the back. Congratulations, you are self-aware. You are already better than a lot of other people or designers. I'm not kidding you. I straight up know people that they are not self-aware at all. They were not at all doing the job, but they thought they were awesome. Because you are self-aware, you're introspective, the little voice in your head will make you question all the design decisions, details, and eventually will make your UX design more bulletproof. If it's a good thing, then why are you self-doubting? That's the second thing to know. While good self-awareness is a boost, bad self-awareness is a drag. There's more doubt than faith. Having faith in yourself is super important. It forms the basis of your thought process, and that influences how you approach what's in front of you and what you would do next. When I got rejection emails, I had a lot of self-awareness. The bad kind. And it led to low self-worth, self-doubt, feeling uncomfortable, lost, useless. So how can we get rid of the bad kind? This is where Jack finally comes into the picture as fact number 3. You know who this is, right? Jack from The Incredibles, the Pixar movie. Did you know Jack has 18 superpowers? From laser eyes to turning himself into a fire baby. Initially, his superpowers were just an absolute mess and chaos, causing troubles left, right, and center. Yet later he learned to control and use his powers, so he ended up saving the day and became arguably the most powerful character in the franchise. That's awesome, right? But you know what? You are Jack. I was Jack. We were all Jack. Overthinking, self-awareness, those are designers' superpowers. We use our OCD to keep questioning. Is this the best layout? Is this flow right? Is this the simplest way to solve the user's problem? But you see, having superpowers does not mean you are powerful. To make it happen, we need to know how to control it, just like Jack, by keeping the good kind of self-awareness and stay away from the bad kind. Once you master it, you will get so many jobs that you don't want any jobs anymore. It's crazy. It's actually also quite doable, and you will see how in chapter 3. To better manage self-awareness, first you need to change the way you think, and then let that new thinking change the way you feel and act. The first thing I learned was that to separate my work from my job applications. Maybe this is the same for you. For me, the most frustrating thing is I spent so much time and energy and effort working on my applications portfolio, but all I got was rejections. Later I realized this was what happened. I see internship offers as the validation of my hard work. And oh boy, that was one huge flawed connection that I made. In fact, those rejections, a lot of the times, they're not even about you. I made a video about this, check it out in the link in the corner and description box down below. So after you cut the string, disassociate the two, now you should look for the right kind of validation. Talk to other designers, upperclassmen, professors, designers from industry. Talk to your trusted friends, parties that actually know what you do. Ask them what they think about your work as an honest and open discussion. That's way more useful and productive. This happens all the time. You're making real progress, but you don't feel like you are. Again, you're looking at the wrong validation. So you beat yourself up over it. Going to museums, sitting in a meeting, not talking. Yes, you're not producing anything directly, but in fact, you are gaining something intangible. Maybe the museum maps subconsciously give you ideas how to design this app layout that you're working on. Maybe the background knowledge from that particular meeting allows you to answer somebody else's question 2 days from now. Every book you read, every movie you watch, every meeting you attend, you are becoming a little bit more experienced. And you should really see it, acknowledge it, and be proud of it. Those false validations are not worth your emotion. They don't mean much. Next is focus on the sameness, something that is universally true all the time. And in fact, that's actually a way better validation point. If you're curious, it's from the book that I read. It's called Same as Ever. It basically sums up the world is changing so rapidly every day, but there's always something that stays unchanged. It's the same thing over and over again. So instead of chasing something changing so quickly, so unpredictable, you might as well focus your energy on the predictable sameness. In the design world, it means keep working on more projects, side projects, crafting your portfolio, look for ways to improve it. And I have a ton of videos on this, check them out in the description down below. Keep networking, talk to other designers, hiring managers, gain some exposure. Let the world know your awesome design work is also here. Keep getting inspired. Go to movies, museums, travel to different places to see new cultures. Keep hanging out with creative people. Any minute, any hour you spend on any of these, it makes you a better designer. And a better designer can only lead to more opportunities, not less. And doing all these is a way, much better validation for yourself as a designer. Everything else is a distraction. Lastly, follow the passion. This is a time to remind yourself the joy you get from design. Losing track of time, being in the zone, staying in the float state, it feels amazing. And if you enjoy it, keep doing it. When I was in middle school, all I could think of was basketball. After class, basketball. Weekend, basketball. It was not at all a calculated move. I was not going to make money from playing basketball or going to the NBA. It was just fun and I was happy playing with my friends. And that's all. It's very pure. Same goes for design. If design is your passion, all you think about is design, then it becomes very effortless. When it's effortless, you will automatically produce so much more design work without even trying. What happens when you keep designing? You become a better designer and then more doors will open. That is passion. So when you take a step back, right, take a look at everything, all of these. Yes, imposter syndrome makes you question yourself, doubt yourself whether you can get an internship or a job. But think about this, statistically speaking, there's a non-zero chance that you will get a job offer as long as you keep trying. So just keep trying. You will get a job. Also, just look back in your life, all right? There must be a time where you thought, oh, this is not going to work out, but it ended up working out. What was that about? How did you feel? Hold on to that feeling and start to believe in yourself. Remember, you are Jack. You already have the design superpower. You just need to control it. Keep designing a better future. I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers!